Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into the world of rare and valuable United States coins, and in this video we are focusing on one of the most surprising pieces of American coinage that has shocked collectors, dealers, and coin experts around the world. This is the 1980p Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin, a coin that millions of Americans have handled without a second thought. But only a few people realize that certain extremely rare versions of this coin can sell for as high as $99,507 in today's market. So settle in and stay with me until the very end, because this is going to be one of the most detailed and valuable videos you will watch about coins. Before we jump into pricing and value, we need to understand exactly why the 1980p Washington quarter is so special. The United States Mint produced an enormous number of quarters in 1980. More than 635 million coins rolled out of the Philadelphia Mint that year. That means the coin itself is not rare. You may even have one right now in your pocket, your wallet, or your coin jar. But the truth that shocks new collectors is this. Among the hundreds of millions made, a tiny number of extremely rare and high-quality examples exist. These special coins were struck with perfect dies, perfect pressure, and have survived in flawless or near flawless condition. This is what launches their value into the tens of thousands. The Washington quarter design has a rich and meaningful history. It was introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design by John Flanagan became one of the most iconic American coin designs ever created. On the obverse side you see a detailed portrait of George Washington facing left, with the word Liberty above him and the phrase "In God We Trust" to the left. The date 1980 sits at the bottom. On the reverse side you see the powerful American eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below. This symbol represents American strength, peace, unity, and protection. So when we talk about a valuable quarter, we are talking about a piece of American history. Now let's talk about why the Mint mark matters. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint used the letter P for the first time on the quarter. Before 1980, Philadelphia coins did not use a mint mark. So this year is special because it marks the beginning of the P Mint mark tradition on Washington quarters. That simple letter, AP, located just to the right of Washington's braid, is historically significant and adds to collector interest. But even more importantly, the highest valued coins from 1980 are not just any P Mint quarters. They are the flawless examples graded by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC. These top-graded coins carry the label MS67, MS68, or sometimes MS69. In rare cases, the absolute top grade becomes so valuable because only a tiny number exists. So how does a simple 25-cent coin reach a value of $99,507? The answer comes from three major factors: rarity, condition, and collector demand. First, rarity. Even though millions were minted, most coins from 1980 circulated heavily. They were used daily for shopping, vending machines, parking meters, and countless everyday transactions. Because of that, most 1,980 quarters show scratches, wear, discoloration, dents, or rim damage. Finding one that still looks like it just came from the mint is extremely difficult. Second, condition. The grading scale used by professionals ranges from 1 to 70. A coin graded 70 represents absolute perfection. For the 1980p quarter, finding one in MS67 is already difficult. Finding one in MS68 is incredibly rare. And the ones that approach MS69 or flawless surfaces become almost priceless. Only a tiny handful are known to exist, which is what pushes their auction value into the high five-figure range. Third is demand. Collectors around the world chase modern high-grade quarters because assembling a perfect set is nearly impossible. The 1980p quarter becomes a key piece in that challenge. Every time one of these rare, perfect coins enters an auction, collectors compete with aggressive bidding, pushing the price higher and higher until the final sale reaches unbelievable numbers like $99,507. Now let's dive deeper into the grading details so you know exactly what to look for if you want to search your own change jars or coin rolls. A typical circulated coin will show visible wear on Washington's hair, cheekbone, neck, and the eagle's feathers. It may have dull luster and small scratches. These coins are commonly worth 25 cents to maybe $1. A lightly circulated coin that still has some mint shine left might be worth a bit more. But the real value begins when you find an uncirculated coin. An uncirculated 1980p quarter still shows full mint luster, nowhere on the high points of the design, and has sharp edges. These coins might be worth $10 to $50 depending on quality. Now, the extremely high-value coins show absolutely no flaws. No fingerprints, no dull patches, no scratches under magnification, no color changes, and no marks from stacking or bagging at the mint. These perfect survivors are the coins that grading companies identify as MS67, MS68, or higher. Let's paint a picture of what makes a top-graded coin so valuable. Imagine looking at the coin under bright light. The luster should move like flowing water across the surface. The field should be mirror-like and clean. Washington's cheek, which is the area that usually gets the most marks, must be spotless. The eagle's breast and wing feathers must be razor-sharp with no dullness. The rims must be perfect, with no hits from other coins. When all these things come together, you have a potential jackpot coin. Now let's talk about the record value. One rare 1980p quarter in extraordinary condition sold for an unbelievable price of $99,507. This sale surprised the coin collecting community because it proved that even modern coins can reach extremely high values when preserved perfectly. It also inspired thousands of new collectors to begin checking their pocket change and searching bank rolls for possible treasures. But what makes the 1980p quarter even more exciting is that new high-grade discoveries are still possible. Unlike old coins from the 1800s or earlier decades, there are still sealed mint sets, old collections, and coin hoards that might contain a perfect 1980p quarter sitting untouched for decades. This means someone out there could still find a life-changing coin without even realizing it at first. Now let's talk about error coins. Some 1980 quarters contain mint errors that increase their value dramatically. For example, off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, clipped planchets, missing letters, and die cracks. These kinds of errors can range from mild to extreme. A dramatic off-center strike or a double die example can sell for hundreds or even thousands depending on severity. Always inspect your coin carefully using a magnifying lens to check for any unusual features because an error combined with high grade can multiply the final value. To help you identify potential valuable coins, let's break down the visual details you must check. Start with the obverse. Look at Washington's forehead, cheek, and hair. These high points show wear first. If they are sharp with no flattening, your coin may still be uncirculated. Next, examine the reverse side. Look at the eagle's chest and wing feathers. The more detail you see, the higher the grade. Then check the rims. Sharp, clean rims with no dents or nicks are a strong sign of a high-quality coin. After that, tilt the coin under light. The luster should be full, smooth, and uninterrupted. Any dull spots can indicate wear or cleaning, which lowers value. Cleaning a coin always destroys collector value, so never clean your coins under any circumstances. Collectors also pay attention to strike quality. Some 1980 quarters were struck with worn dies, causing them to look slightly weak or soft. The rare, valuable ones are sharp, bold, and well-detailed. If your coin has strike weakness, it may still be collectible but will not reach the top values. Now let's talk about how to sell a valuable coin. If you believe you have a high-quality example of a 1980p quarter, do not rush to sell it online. First, submit the coin to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade dramatically increases your coin's market value and protects you from low offers. Once graded, you can sell your coin through auction houses such as Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or Great Collections. These platforms bring serious collectors and competitive bidding, which helps achieve the highest possible price for your coin. Now let's discuss the sentimental and historical value of this coin. The 1980s marked a transition period in American coin collecting. Welcome back to our channel where we explore the hidden gems in everyday pocket change. Today's video is going to blow your mind because we are talking about a coin that many people overlook, a coin that millions of Americans have handled without ever knowing that it could be worth a life-changing amount of money. Yes, we are talking about the 1981 D Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. This coin, when found in the right condition with the right features, can be worth an unbelievable $49,672 in today's collector market. So stay tuned all the way through because we will break down the history of the coin, the design details, why some rare pieces are worth so much money, era varieties, grading tips, collector demand, and how you can check your own spare change right now to see if you might be holding a valuable treasure. Let's begin by going back in time. The 1981 D Washington quarter is part of a long line of quarters that began in 1932 when the United States Mint introduced the Washington quarter to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design by John Flanagan became one of the most iconic images in American coinage. For nearly 70 years this design dominated the quarter, and the 1981 D version is part of the final generations before the state quarters program began in 1999. That alone gives it historical value, but the real story behind the 1981 D quarter's high market price comes from scarcity within condition rarity, minting mistakes, and collector demand. Although millions were minted, very few exist in pristine, untouched condition. Now let's talk about where this coin came from. The D Mint mark stands for the Denver Mint. In 1981, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of quarters for everyday circulation. These coins were made using the standard copper-nickel clad composition that had been used since 1965, after the United States removed silver from quarters. Because these were everyday circulation coins, most of them were used heavily. They passed through hands, pockets, cash registers, laundromats, and vending machines. All that were reduced the number of high-grade surviving examples. That is why the rarest 1981 D quarters today are the ones that somehow survived without scratches, dents, discoloration, or wear. These are the examples that collectors pay huge money for. Now let's dig deeper into the design. On the obverse of the coin is the portrait of George Washington, facing left. His profile is sharp and detailed when the coin is in high grade. The word Liberty appears above his head, and the motto "In God We Trust" is located to the left. At the bottom is the year 1981. To the right of Washington's ponytail is the important D Mint mark. You should always check this mint mark area carefully because flaws, doubling, or strange shapes in that region can indicate valuable mint errors that raise the value dramatically. On the reverse, you have the majestic eagle with outstretched wings, arrows in its talons, and olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. The inscriptions United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, and $quarter complete the design. Now let's move into the value and the reason the market price is so shocking. While the average 1981 D quarter in circulated condition is worth only 25 cents, coin collectors will pay thousands for coins that grade extremely high. The highest known grades, especially those certified by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, can reach astronomical prices. And this is where we reach our headline number. A pristine, nearly flawless, top population 1981 D Washington quarter has sold for as high as $49,672. This price was achieved because of its perfect surfaces, sharp strike, and its rarity compared to the massive amount of circulated coins. Why would someone pay that much? It comes down to what collectors call conditional rarity. Even though millions were made, almost none exist in a perfect mint state condition. The few that do are incredibly desirable, especially for collectors building top-quality registry sets. In these competitions, collectors seek the best graded coin for every date and mint mark. If a coin is extremely rare in superb condition, bidding wars break out. That is how a 25-cent coin suddenly becomes nearly $50,000. Now let's talk about errors because error coins can raise values even higher. Some of the rarest and most valuable error varieties for the 1981 D quarter include double die obverse where the lettering such as Liberty or In God We Trust shows extra thickness or doubling. Look carefully at the letters and numbers with a magnifying glass. Next is off-center strikes. If the design is not properly centered and part of the coin is blank, the value can jump into thousands. Then there are clipped planchets. These are coins that have a curved or straight chunk missing because the blank was cut incorrectly. Missing clad layer errors are also extremely collectible. That happens when the top or bottom nickel coating separates, and you can see the exposed copper core. And finally, you have struck-through errors where something like grease, cloth, or debris got between the die and the blank, leaving unusual marks or missing details. If you find any of these errors on a 1981 decoder, the value can easily surpass the $49,000 range depending on condition. That is why it is important to inspect your coins carefully. Let's move on to grading, because this is one of the biggest factors behind the huge price tag. Grading means evaluating the coin's condition from circulated to mint state. Most 1981 decorders you find today will be circulated and show wear on Washington's hair, cheek, jawline, and the eagle's feathers. High-grade coins, however, show no signs of wear. The surfaces shine, the details are crisp, and there are no scratches from contact with other coins. These top-tier examples receive grades like MS66, MS67, MS68, and even higher in extremely rare cases. The difference in value between MS67 and MS68 can be thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, because MS68 examples from this year are extremely rare. That rarity is what pushes the market value to $49,672. Now let's talk about how to check your own coins. When you pick up a 1981 quarter, flip it over and look for the D mint mark. Then check for wear. Does Washington's cheek look smooth from circulation? Are there scratches in the field, which is the flat area around the portrait? Is the eagle's breast worn down? If so, the coin is not in top grade, but it still might be valuable if it has an error. Next, check for doubling, cracks, off-center designs, and anything that looks unusual. Use bright light and a magnifying glass or smartphone macro lens. If you find something that looks promising, you may want to get it graded. Now let's talk about the collector demand that drives the value. The Washington Quarter Series is extremely popular among numismatists. Collectors love building full sets from 1932 to present day. The demand for early 1980s quarters in high grades has grown significantly in recent years because people are realizing how few high-quality examples survived. The vast majority were heavily used because quarters are one of the most circulated coins in the U.S. economy. This scarcity creates intense bidding among collectors who want top-quality coins for their sets. As the years go by and more people submit their coins for grading, the survival numbers become even clearer. Only a tiny fraction of 1981 decorders remain in superb condition. That is why the price continues to rise. Now let's dive into an interesting point: the historical context of 1981. This year came before the economic recession of the early 1980s, and the mint was already producing coins at high speed to meet demand. Speed sometimes leads to more striking errors. Combine that with the fact that no proof sets were minted at the San Francisco Mint for 1981 circulation coins. That means the only way to get a perfect 1981 decorder is to find one that survived from regular circulation or from mint sets. Mint sets help preserve some coins, but even those can have contact marks because they were packaged in bulk. So a perfect specimen is rare. Now let's continue with more details about what collectors look for specifically. They examine the luster of the coin. Luster is the natural shine that forms when the coin is struck. If the luster is strong and unbroken, that is a good sign. They also study the strike, which refers to how well the details came out when the coin was minted. A strong strike means Washington's hair strands are sharp, the eagle's feathers are fully defined, and the lettering is crisp. Weak strikes can reduce the value even if the coin has no wear. Collectors also look for eye appeal. This means how beautiful the coin appears overall. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising and modern rare coins that has been shocking collectors and treasure hunters across the country. We are talking about the 2021 P Mint Mark Washington $quarter coin. Yes, a coin minted just a few years ago is now making headlines because certain rare examples have sold for an unbelievable price of $78,241. This video will break down everything you need to know, including how this coin became so valuable, the history behind the 2021 quarter, what errors and varieties to look for, what condition makes it valuable, and how you can check your own coins at home. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end because the details matter and a tiny difference on your quarter could be the key to a life-changing discovery. Let's start with the history. The 2021 Washington quarter belongs to a transition era between two major quarter designs. For many years, the United States Mint had been producing the America the Beautiful Quarter series, which featured national parks and landmarks on the reverse side. But in 2021, the series ended with the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site design. After this, the Mint prepared to launch the new American Women Quarters program, which began in 2022. So 2021 became a special year for quarter collectors, marking the end of one long series and the beginning of another. But what makes the 2021 P quarter especially interesting is that despite being a modern circulating coin, certain rare types and errors from the Philadelphia Mint have skyrocketed in value. The Philadelphia Mint, represented by the letter P, is known for producing millions upon millions of coins. So normally, 2021 P quarters would be extremely common, not rare. But as collectors know, rarity comes not from the year itself but from unique conditions, minting issues, striking errors, and high-grade surviving examples. One of the biggest reasons the 2021 P quarter has reached a value of $78,241 is because of high-grade conditions certified by major grading companies. When a coin is struck with perfect precision, shows no wear, and has flawless or near-flawless surfaces, it can achieve grades like MS68, MS69, or even the impossible MS70. But for business strike quarters, especially from high-output mints like Philadelphia, such high grades are incredibly rare because coins get tossed into bins, mixed with others, and often scratched even before leaving the mint. So when a collector finds an extremely high-grade example, it becomes instantly valuable. One particular 2021 P example was graded at a nearly perfect level and sold at auction for $78,241, shocking the entire coin community. Now let's talk about the errors that can bring big value. Some 2021 P quarters come with dramatic die breaks, retained cut errors, die chips, struck through grease errors, off-center strikes, or doubled die varieties. The Washington quarter has many small design details where errors can hide. For example, collectors have reported die chips on Washington's hat area in the Tuskegee Airmen design, which appear like raised bumps or extra metal. These might be small, but dramatic and larger chips can sell for good money. There are also examples of doubled dies where letters such as "In God We Trust" or "Liberty" show signs of doubling when examined under magnification. A true doubled die can dramatically raise value, especially when paired with a high grade. Another important area is the reverse design strike quality. In 2021 coins, weak strikes or misaligned dies can create rare anomalies collectors love. Because of the rush to finish the last America the Beautiful quarter design, some dies were overused, creating cracks, chips, and breaks, all of which increase collector interest. One of the standout features collectors look for on the 2021 P quarter is the quality of the devices. The sharper the hair detail on Washington's portrait, the more valuable the coin is. If you can see the tiny strands of hair clearly without flatness, you may have a premium example. Also, pay attention to luster. Coins that shine brightly with a clean, cartwheel effect are often high-grade candidates. If your coin has deep mirror-like fields or unusually reflective surfaces, it may even be considered a proof-like strike, which increases value significantly. Even though these coins were not intentionally made as proofs, some business strikes come out with proof-like qualities, which collectors pay a premium for. Another major reason the 2021 P quarter gained so much momentum in the coin world is because modern collectors are more active than ever. Social media has created a massive wave of treasure hunting excitement. TikTok, Facebook groups, Instagram Reels, and YouTube videos have brought millions of people into the hobby. As a result, auction values have skyrocketed for rare coins, especially high-grade modern issues. When a coin as recent as 2021 reaches above $70,000, it quickly becomes a topic of discussion, increasing demand and raising value even more. Now let's talk about what you should look for if you have 2021 P mint mark quarters. First, check the mint mark. The P will appear on the obverse side, next to Washington's portrait. Once confirmed, inspect the overall condition. Look for scratches, nicks, dents, or worn areas. A coin must be in pristine condition to reach top value. Hold it under a light and tilt it slowly. A high-quality coin will display a smooth, clean luster. If you see dull areas or patches where the shine is broken, the grade may drop. Next, look closely at the reverse design. Since 2021 features the Tuskegee Airman, inspect the details in the pilot's suit, the building, the flames, and the aircraft in the background. On era coins, metal may appear where it shouldn't, such as bubbles or raised metal caused by die chips. Look for cracks or lines that extend into the design, which may be die breaks. Also check for doubling, especially around the lettering in the phrases United States of America, E pluribus unum, and Tuskegee Airmen. If the doubling is strong, your coin could be valuable. One of the most exciting things about the 2021 P quarter is that millions are still sitting in circulation. That means your chance of finding a valuable one is real. People have reported finding high-grade examples simply by searching through bank rolls, pocket change, cash registers, and coin machines. Since the coin is still circulating, many people have no idea that it could be worth money. This creates an opportunity for collectors who know what to look for. Let's discuss grading. If you believe you have a sharp, clean, high-quality 2021 P quarter, you may want to consider sending it to a grading company such as PCGS or NGC. Before doing this, make sure the coin is truly in top condition because grading fees can cost more than the coin's value if it's not rare. A high-grade MS-68 example can be worth hundreds. An MS-69 could reach thousands. And the highest recorded price so far, $78,241, came from a nearly perfect top population example. These coins are graded using precision microscopes and advanced lighting to detect even the smallest flaw. If the graders determine your coin is flawless or nearly flawless, you could be holding a life-changing piece. Now let's explore why modern coins like this can reach such incredible values. The reason is scarcity combined with demand. Even though millions were made, extremely high-grade examples may number in the single digits. Imagine millions of coins leaving the mint, being dumped into bags, transported in metal bins, poured into hoppers, and then released into circulation where they are constantly scratched by other coins. Under these conditions, a perfect example is almost impossible. When a collector finds one early, before it gets damaged, that coin becomes a true rarity, and collectors with deep pockets will pay premium prices to own these top-tier examples. Another factor is the shift in collecting trends. Younger collectors who grew up with digital technology are now investing heavily in physical collectibles, including coins. They want modern, relatable pieces rather than older, historical coins from the 1800s. This trend makes modern high-grade coins extremely desirable. In addition, large coin grading companies have made it easier for collectors to submit coins, track populations, and understand rarity. With population reports being public, everyone can see exactly how many exist in each grade. If there are only one or two graded at the highest level, demand skyrockets. This is exactly what happened with the rare high-grade 2021 P quarter. Let's take a moment to explain how the coin looks so you can identify it easily. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan and used on quarters for decades. Today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable modern quarter-dollar coins sitting quietly inside everyday pocket change, the 1998 D Mint Mark Washington quarter-dollar coin. Many collectors overlook this date because it falls right before the massive state quarters program launched in 1999, making people assume that these late 90s coins hold little to no value. But the truth is very different. There are rare varieties, exceptional minting errors, and high-grade surviving examples from the 1998 D quarter that have sold for unbelievable prices, with the current market value of the finest known examples reaching an astonishing $80,164. So stay with me as we explore the complete history, the minting background, the era types, why collectors chase these coins today, why certain pieces are now worth a small fortune, and how you can check your own pocket change, old jars, or inherited collections to see if you might be sitting on a rare and valuable treasure without even knowing it. The story of the 1998 D Mint Mark quarter begins at the Denver Mint, one of the United States Mint's most reliable facilities. In 1998, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for over 6 decades, first introduced in 1932. Although millions were produced each year, the late 1990s saw an increase in public interest because the Mint was preparing for the transition to the historic State Quarter series. Collectors began paying more attention to yearly issues, creating a surge in the demand for pristine, high-grade examples. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1998 D quarters, and on the surface, they appeared ordinary. But hidden within those mintages are a small number of coins with exceptional quality, and extremely rare minting errors that drastically increase their value today. The key to understanding why the 1998 D quarter can be worth over $80,000 lies in the grading scale. Coin grading ranges from poor condition, where the design is heavily worn, all the way up to mint state conditions, which include grades like MS65, MS67, and the nearly impossible MS68. Coins graded MS68 are nearly flawless, and for modern circulation coins, they are extremely rare. When grading companies like PCGS and NGC certify a modern quarter at MS68, collectors enter a bidding war because such a coin is almost one of a kind. That scarcity creates huge value. For the 1998 D Mint Mark Washington quarter, the few highest grade examples discovered in the last years have shocked collectors when they sold for tens of thousands of dollars. The most pristine examples, perfectly struck, with razor-sharp details, frost on the devices, and mirror-like luster on the fields, have reached the current market value of $80,164. This means if you find a perfectly preserved 1998 D quarter, especially one that was never circulated, perhaps sitting untouched in an old bankroll or mint set, you could potentially own a life-changing treasure. Now let's explore the types of coins from this year that collectors search for. The first category is high-grade mint state coins. These coins must have no scratches, no wear, no shiny flat surfaces caused by circulation, and absolutely no contact marks from other coins. Most coins from mint bags or pocket change will not meet this criteria, but unsearched bank rolls, old coin sets, or coins preserved by accident might still exist in pristine condition. Look closely at the details on Washington's hair, the eagle's feathers, the lettering, and the fields. The sharper and cleaner they are, the higher the grade and the higher the value. Next, the second category that can push the value dramatically higher is minting errors. These include broad strikes, double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, clipped planchets, and even wrong planchet strikes. For example, some coins may show extra metal on Washington's hat or at the base of the neck. Others may show dramatic off-center misalignment, where part of the design is shifted. Any of these errors from the 1998 D quarter can bring hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on severity. But the rarest are those graded both with high-grade mint state and with dramatic errors. These are the coins worth tens of thousands. The third category is coins with exceptional die characteristics. Toward the end of the die's life, some quarters show major die wear patterns or polishing marks. These can create the illusion of doubled edges or ghost images. Although some collectors confuse these with actual doubled dies, experts still value these unique pieces because they provide a glimpse into mint history. Some polished die varieties where the eagle appears sharper than usual, or where the lettering takes on a bold, crisp appearance can catch the interest of serious collectors. Now let's talk about the coin's history in more detail. The Washington quarter was never intended to be a long-term circulating design. Originally created as a one-year commemorative coin for George Washington's 200th birthday, it remained in circulation because it became extremely popular. The design by sculptor John Flanagan featured a classical American portrait of Washington on the obverse and a powerful heraldic eagle on the reverse. By 1998, This design was nearing the end of its run because the new State Quarter series would begin in 1999. As a result, many collectors view 1998 as the final year of the iconic traditional Washington quarter, giving it higher historical importance. That nostalgia drives demand. Another reason the 1998 D quarter has exploded in value is the rise of modern coin collecting. Younger collectors now chase modern varieties and mint eras more aggressively than ever before. With social media, coin channels, grading company population reports, and auction results circulating online, any rare discovery gets attention instantly. When certain 1998 D quarters graded at MS68 sold at record-breaking prices, it created a new wave of interest, with collectors searching every pocket, every drawer, every old coin jar for that one perfect piece. Now let's break down what makes an individual 1998 D quarter so valuable today. Start by checking the mint mark D, which stands for Denver. Then examine the coin's condition. If the details on Washington's hair are worn down, the value drops sharply. If the reverse eagle has smooth wings or missing feather details, that indicates circulation wear and drops the grade even further. But if the coin has sharp edges, glossy luster, and no signs of wear, it may be mint state. A mint state coin can range from MS60 to MS68, with each higher level increasing the value significantly. An MS63 might sell for a few dollars. An MS65 might bring in tens of dollars. An MS67 might bring in hundreds or even a few thousand. But an MS68, with virtually no defects visible even under magnification, becomes a superstar. That's when the price skyrockets to tens of thousands, reaching the current market value of $80,164. If you want to know whether your coin could grade this high, check the fields first. The fields are the flat open spaces around the portrait and the eagle. Most coins have contact marks and tiny scratches because they were struck, stored, transported, and distributed in bags containing thousands of other coins. So finding a 1998 D quarter with clean, untouched fields is incredibly difficult. That is why flawless examples are so rare and so valuable. Next, look at luster. Original mint luster radiates like a swirling pattern, almost like a cartwheel effect when you tilt the coin under light. Strong luster indicates minimal contact. Weak or dull luster means wear or handling. Also check the strike quality. A strong strike shows deep, crisp lines in Washington's hair and sharp texture in the eagle's wings. Weakly struck coins may have soft or blurry features. One more thing collectors love about this coin is its role in a transitional era. The 1998 D quarter is literally the final step before America's coinage design changed forever in 1999. That gives 1998 coins sentimental and historic value, especially to collectors who grew up seeing the traditional design and then witnessed the launch of the State Quarter series. When we look at auction data from recent years, the most valuable 1998 D quarters consistently come from high-grade certified coins. Some were pulled from mint sets, others accidentally preserved inside personal collections. In each case, collectors who found coins this rare saw unbelievable returns. Imagine finding a coin worth over $80,000 that originally cost just 25 cents. So how can you find one yourself? Begin by checking your loose change. Millions of 1998 D quarters still circulate, and while most are worn, you could still come across one in better condition. Next, search old jars or boxes stored away for years. People often saved coins without knowing their future value. Also check any mint sets from the late 1990s. Many families purchased United States mint sets during that time,